All right, everybody. I do apologize for the really long delay between episodes, and obviously you can see here if you're taking a look at the screen that we are quite far into the 2027 season as well. And as you can see by the record of 26 and 29, things are not going excellent. So we have quite a bit to catch everyone up on. A few notes. Obviously, you saw the division series. That was the last episode. Was just a wrap up of the playoffs where we got beat by the Yankees in the division series. I believe that was in 4 games. The Yankees went on to win the World Series. So their acquisition of Skubal did indeed pay off to get themselves a ring. Skubal then obviously tested free agency, and he has signed with the Rangers along with Sonny Gray. So there is a number of things that we really should cover as to where the team is. A few things I have done, and I want to shout out the creator. I'd have to find this person's name who had created kind of a widget that can take a lot of the data that's in the game. So as you're playing your game save, you can export a lot of data files out of that. And this person in the OOTP community had built kind of a front office widget that will take a lot of that data and spit out some really nice dashboards, create some storylines for you to view, as well as just analyze your team, contract status, prospects, and make some helpful suggestions for where the team should head. So we began to use that as we approached the beginning of 2027 to begin to think about where we wanted to kind of head from a roster construction for the year. So I wanted to begin at least to talk about just a few of the trades that we made in the off season in particular, and where those have gotten us so far this year. So I'll even first take a step back from a contract status. We offered Sonny Gray a qualifying offer. It was 20-some million just for 1 year. He declined that. We did get a second round compensation pick for Sonny Gray, which I think is going to be the better long term value for the organization. In his contract, I think when we looked at his contract, it was like he wanted a 2 to 3 year deal of high 30s, low 40 million. At that point, I just didn't think that was going to be the best use of our capital. And again, even in hindsight of even the pitching depth that we had in the organization. So I was only willing to go that far at that point of just a qualifying offer. And that would have probably been a bargain for us if we could have got Sonny Gray for low 20 millions for 1 more year. It was a similar situation with Chapman. He wanted a very high amount of money for multiple year deal, and he was again, as you can see, he's 38 years old at the time we traded him. But we did offer him a qualifying offer as well for 1 year, 22 million, and he accepted that. It was actually one of the owner goals to bring back Chapman, but this deal came up. I put him on the open market, Chapman. Again, because of the analysis of this tooling that we had used, and again, I'll try to find this guy's name because we're going to again leverage this system going forward as well from a dashboard perspective. I'll let you guys even see a few of the pages today. But I threw in Chapman into a deal and Garrett Cole. Now again, it's a contract for Chapman. 22 million for 1 year is quite a bit of money. But again, if you kind of factor in the years prior, and if he still throws up a 2.5-ish to 3 WAR for you, which is pretty hard to do out of the bullpen as a closer, but we know that Chapman is pretty dominant in that role. It's not a completely bad deal, I would say. Cole was offered. Obviously, he was hurt in 26. Again, he came back from the injury, got hurt again. Yankees didn't have him. They most likely got Skubal to fill that gap. But I also got I got the Yankees to eat up a bit of that contract. So they're paying 30% of the 36 million for 26. For 27 and 28. So I thought, hey, if we can get 2 years of Cole, again, it is on the back half of his career, we might be okay. And again, the guy's a gamer. He does have a good profile. High baseball IQ, high work ethic. I felt confident. Again, he has a decent profile from a control artist. I mean, he's just beginning to lose his stuff, obviously. His stuff is not as strong as it was. But I felt if we can get more innings out of him than what we would get with Cole, it could be beneficial, right? Because obviously his 2026 season was really nothing. He didn't pitch many innings at all, and faced that injury. So, and he hasn't been great for us. He started off really rough. He did come back from his injury even earlier than expected. He was still hurt when we traded for him, but he came back sooner. So we're maybe again on the right track. He's .8 WAR. His BABIP is up there pretty high. He does suppress home runs. He's not giving up a lot of home runs, and he's not walking the yard. He has good control yet, but he's not striking out the numbers that he had historically. So you can tell the stuff is beginning to degrade. So we did make that deal. So far, it's kind of showing as a loss for us. I think long term we're going to get more WAR because the Yankees re-signed Chapman. Maybe they'll keep him another year. But obviously, so far Chapman has been, really good for them. 25 innings, 14 saves, 12 shutdowns, 3 meltdowns. He's got 1.5 WAR. So he has still been just as effective as what he was prior. The work ethic, like the profile for Chapman, I'm not fully in love with it. Again, you still, for this profile, which is not degrading in any way at this point, you probably, in hindsight, maybe we should have just kept him and had just a back end bullpen. I don't think I'm going to question that deal too much. I still think I like Cole's moxie. That even helped us plug a gap in losing Gray. And we'll talk about another injury in the organization that continues to still hurt us a bit. And that is that's a deal that we traded, or not traded, but Peyton Tolley he's had to undergo surgery, I think, kind of late in 2026, and he's out for all of 2027. So that shoulder injury that first seemed to be just 4 months has only gotten worse. And is now out all of this year. It doesn't seem to have impacted at this point his projections for how he will be as a pitcher. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Obviously, at this point, he's not under a contract of any significance from a payout perspective, so we have time to be patient with him as he comes back from that injury. We did trade Durbin in the offseason. This says we've lost 0.5 WAR. I don't really consider that to be the case because he has not yet played in the major leagues for the Twins. He's been in AAA, has been playing well. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't brought him up if he's putting up numbers like this. From a hitting perspective, he can play decent defense, and you can kind of put him anywhere on the field, and you'll be okay. But I don't consider that a loss. We have not gotten much out of Royce Lewis, though, unfortunately. It was a one-for-one deal. I like the profile of Royce. He's not an awesome hitter by any means, but he does play some good defense. Has just smart base running tactics. Even though he's not the quickest guy, he's just smart on the base pass. And obviously, he has a fantastic personality as well. And again, I thought for a one-year flyer, let's see what we can get. He was coming off a relatively decent year in Minnesota with a 1.1 WAR. Again, a lot of that was coming more defensively, but we're getting just nowhere near that offensive capability, and he's been more of a bench piece in the recent months. So it's been a bit of a failed experiment with Royce Lewis, unfortunately. Well, we have a bench piece in there that's relatively cheap at just $5 million. We traded Duran for Trey Morgan. Now this player, we haven't yet, leveraged him probably to where we could really kind of slot him in the organization yet. We don't have a lot of, we're kind of backed up, I should say, kind of at first base at the DH spot. We have a left fielder in Roman Anthony, so he's not going to play there. He did begin the season up with us because Anthony was out a few days. Um, and he is, again, putting up some pretty solid numbers in AAA. I'm just not sure where this guy is going to slot in for us in the organization. He has a nice batting profile, can make some good contact, but he doesn't have, supreme power at a corner infield, outfield spot to where you'd probably keep this guy. So he might be some trade bait. Or if we have an injury in one of those key spots to Wilson Contreras, or potentially Tristan Casas, he could be a backfill in that spot. But for that deal, that was Duran. We traded him, obviously, in last summer, and Duran's still been up in Tampa Bay. He had a pretty solid year to finish out 2026. We beat the Rays, obviously, there in the wild card round. But so far this year, he has not been playing well. So, again, with the kind of, in a sense, the backlog we had at that position, some outfield depth, I felt that was a good deal for us. That's the couple trades that we did there. I did sign. No, I don't think I signed anybody. I'm taking a look at some trades yet. So we traded a prospect back to get Grayson Rodriguez. Now he's been, this was our deadline deal last year. It was really kind of some pitching depth that we went out and secured. And again, this guy has been really good for us. Was 6-4 with just an ERA above 4 in 2026. And so far for us this year, he's 4-3 with a 3.69 ERA and throwing up 0.7 WAR. So again, he's been really good for us for a pretty relatively cheap contract. Now we don't have him signed long term. His arbitration estimate is going to continue to grow. I'm a bit torn as to what to do with Grayson Rodriguez long term. He has been, I would say, he's exceeded expectations for what I would have expected out of this player. For bringing him in for what we traded was just a top 200 prospect. So he's been really good for us. He's pretty much maxed out, though. He's not going to get much better than this, but he does have a nice 4-pitch arsenal, and his stuff is above average. So we might just continue to ride the train. Again, I'm not too concerned if I don't, sign him long term and can, again, just go kind of year by year for a little bit and see kind of where we net out with Grayson. But he's been really healthy for us. He's been eating up innings, which has been helpful because Cole's been a little bit just underperforming so far. So he's been excellent again. So far, that's been our best trade because I'm sure this guy, at 19 years old now, he still has not yet kind of proceeded up through the organization of the Angels. But again, could be a player for them a handful of years down the road where it might be some beneficial to them. We also traded, and let's talk about this deal next. Actually, no, let's talk this deal so far. So another deal that kind of came up, I was shopping Marcelo Meyer. And you would say, well, why are you shopping Meyer? What was it? I'm trying to see where the Meyer deal was Spencer Arrighetti. I apologize. So, yes, this was Anthony, and this was a deal I think that came to us, was proposed to us by the Rangers, and I think this might have been before they secured the pitchers that they acquired, but Seager was offered up to us for, again, a young, this guy can be a good pitcher, Anthony Ianson. I'm going to butcher that name. But as you can see, he's in AAA for them now. I guess that's Round Rock Express. So again, this guy, has a good profile. I wouldn't have minded this profile. From a pitching perspective, again, he does have potential to be pretty solid. It's almost looks like a Grayson Rodriguez type of profile. Maybe a little more home run allowance, but relatively similar. And is young, but as you can see, his numbers have not been all that solid. A 7.71 ERA. He's given up some bombs. He does strike out a good amount. So he's got the good stuff, 4-pitch arsenal. That slider does fully develop. He could be, again, pretty solid. So it's not like we didn't give up anything in that trade. And then another 19-year-old pitcher, which, again, this is really nothing. to get Seager. Now, again, in this situation, what I was thinking is that Seager could be a bridge at short for us to get to Arias. And again, as he ages, move him over to third, which we've done now because we had Royce Lewis at third base to start the year. That's been a failed experiment because we're getting no offense out of him. And we're unfortunately not getting much offense out of Seager. Seager's a good shortstop yet. He's also has potential to be a really good third baseman, as you can see. He's got a 60 potential there defensively. So I wouldn't mind him at the corners. I wouldn't potentially mind him playing first base at some point too as he ages. Obviously, the contract is very high. It's a lot of money to give up for a guy at this age. But again, I thought it's a really nice profile, good guy, humble. He's adaptable, which we can move him around defensively. He's not going to have this ego that, hey, I want to be the shortstop for you guys. So I thought it was a decent deal. Obviously, again, he does have a good eye. He's going to draw walks. His walk percentage is good. He's not going to strike out a ton. It's just the contact profile is beginning to evade him a bit, which is unfortunate. But hopefully, again, we'll be able to just continue to extract some value. The Rangers are eating roughly, I think, a little over $6 million of that deal every year. So we're not paying that full price, but it still is pretty costly for us at this point. Last year he had a good year. Didn't hit, a ton, but still had really good defensive value. But we're now dealing with a guy that's 30% less efficient offensively than league average, which when we're paying 25, 26 million is not great. So far that deal has not panned out for us in any way, shape, or form, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Obviously, he's now here long term. We're going to have to, again, kind of bite the bullet. And again, that deal kind of softens. It's hurt right now. It hurts us this year financially, which we can talk a little bit about a budget. We're at like a $320 million budget. The owner, John Henry, has gave us some additional funds. He kind of saw some of the moves we were making, I think, early in the year and was pleased with those, even though we had traded his prized possession and Chapman, did give us some additional money. And we have some money coming off the books at the end of this year with Story and Yoshida. So got some really bad contracts, getting no value off of either one of those two players to come off the books at the end of the year, which will be good. All right, so that's that deal that's been so far. And then also, so that was the kind of the deal towards the end. That was on 2/6/2027. On January 8th, which was earlier, we traded Meyer. So I thought this was kind of a bit of a sell high in my eyes. He was a 1.54 for us. He was not plus offensively. And again, I was thinking that this guy is probably not our long-term shortstop. And they've moved him over to second base, which is probably the best place to put this guy long-term, either at second or third. Probably second is a good spot for Meyer. But it does look, in all honesty, that he does have a little bit more gap profile to build out. So he's looking a little bit better, honestly, than what I had left off with him at. He's putting up very similar numbers to what he did last year. Again, he's not playing shortstop now, so you're not going to get probably as much defensive value in second base. But his hitting profile is now looking like it's going to round out to be pretty decent. So this one, again, very much could hurt us. But again, what I thought we could do in that situation was getting a couple of things. One is just a flyer on a 20-year-old pitcher who, again, looks like could have some decent arm potential there down the road. Ways up, years away at this point for that guy. He needs to develop. But in the short run, it was Spencer Arrighetti, who I thought, again, really nice pitch arsenal. I thought, again, could just be a depth piece for us because we weren't going out and getting high-end free agent pitching. And I was worried, we're gonna have some injuries. Let's have at least 6, 7, 8, 9 men that can grab the ball every fifth day and pitch really well. So far, it's not worked out well for us with Spencer. He's 1-6 with a 6.12 ERA, and as you can see now, he's got options. His contract is very minimal. As you can see, he signed through his age 30 year and for very cheap money. So the contract I really liked. With Meyer, I didn't have a spot really for him on the team. I was really more bought into Royce Lewis than I was Meyer, which in hindsight was probably a little bit too rash of a decision to make for a 24-year-old player. In Meyer, I probably should have held on to him for a little longer to see how he developed. But again, for this arm, for Spencer, I thought was valuable to us. Obviously, he's pretty much maxed out from a potential standpoint. There's probably not a whole lot we're going to get out from him. But I was at least hoping. Again, he came off a really nice, solid year in Houston and just has not been as good for us, unfortunately. Again, he's still in the org. He's controllable with a really cheap contract all of these years and can at least probably be a middle relief bullpen arm, at worst case scenario. So Myers went to the Astros, has played well. That's been our worst trade so far by WAR, which I fully understand at this point. But again, I think it could potentially be positive for us long term. A free agent that we did sign, this was an international free agent signing, I do believe. This is a bullpen arm, a 33-year-old guy just for 1 year. Nice little, pitch piece. He's got really good stuff with the 2++ pitches, and he's been really good for us. 0.6 WAR. His BABIP is pretty atrocious, but as you can see with that good stuff, he strikes out a pile of hitters. So in the middle of the bullpen, and again, has a really nice personality profile. So I've been happy with getting him for just a couple million. So yeah, that takes us to some of those moves in the off season. So the team does look quite a bit different. Let's take a quick look at the roster so you guys know, get you up to speed as to where things are. So let's take a look at the lineup. So Wilyer Abreu, we have signed him we've bought out some of his RBers, let's say that. Again, using the tooling in this OOTP front office system. Again, Wilyer had a really good year in 2026 at 2.6 WAR, and really had for 2 years in 25 had some good numbers too, and he was really durable for us last year. This year he hasn't quite put up those same numbers. The power's down, the batting average is up, but still he's one of our best offensive players this year for a team that's been just struggling to hit the ball so far. So in the offseason, we did offer him a contract extension, 4 years, $54.3 million. He can opt out after the 2029 season, but as you can see, we got 2 more years there to get him into his age 31, 32 season. He could then at that point test free agency again and still get some additional an additional contract either with us or another team, depending on how things are at. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Again, even if he's not playing, he's so good defensively that we're going to get some value out of him defensively, even if his bat's not being, plus. But so far he's been really good and a player I wanted to kind of build around. We got Anthony. He's been playing really well this year. Again, as you can see, 1.4 WAR. Home runs are just not there. He just is not hitting the ball at the ballpark, which is kind of surprising. Not that he did it a ton, I guess, either in 25, but I just thought with 50 to 55 power, he would get more. Now, what we focused on in the offseason with him was gap power, so he could be a doubles machine, and that's just maybe what he'll be. But again, at a 141 WRC plus or 137 OPS plus, he's mashing the ball. He's hitting the ball hard, so it's just not out of the ballpark. He's got a 306 average, a 411 OBP. Not much to complain about other than the ISO. The isolated power is is really just not there. He doesn't have, quote unquote, the home run power. Now, the ballpark is probably hurting him a little bit in that regard, and that could be the same story for Seager as a lefty bat. It's just hurting him a bit. So that's unfortunate that Anthony's just not hitting home runs, but again, he's playing awesome offensively. Wilson Contreras, not as solid a year as he's had, but again, this guy's 35 years old now. Still has a good profile, throwing up half a WAR. He's being positive offensively, but the power is way down so far. 13 stolen bases, though. I mean, it's just wild that he's stealing that many bases so far halfway through the season, or not even quite at this point. Casas, I was really hopeful for Triston Casas coming off of basically the half the season we had with him last year, the 2.4 WAR, the 23 bombs. This year, it's just fallen apart offensively. He's playing DH. We're getting nothing out of him from that DH spot. I have a feeling what he's going to have to be at this point is he just a trade chip at this point. So I don't know. I mean, he could be our first baseman. He can play a decent first base. He's tall, but again, if he's not going to hit, it's unfortunate. He's just struggling so much this year. But I was hoping that he would really continue that forward progression as to what he came off of in the 2026 season and really be an excellent player for us. And so far, has just really struggled. So that's unfortunate. Rafaela, awesome year in 2026. The 4.6 WAR, the plus offensive bat. He's at a .9 WAR this year. The hitting is not as strong as it was, and this is a common theme for our entire team this year. Again, contract-wise, nothing to be worried about at all. Very controllable player. The defensive value we're getting in center field for him is just great. Obviously, he doesn't walk a ton. His on-base percentage is going to be very close to his average because of his poor eye, but he does make strong contact. We just got to get luckier with him. Let me take a look at his BABIP. Like last year, his BABIP was a 337. This year, it's a 293. So a lot of that story is right in the writing there. He's just being a bit unlucky. Hopefully, a little bit of that can turn around here in June and July. We get back on the right track. Seager, we already talked a little bit about him. I'm not expecting, if I can get close 95 to 100 offensively out of him, that's going to be excellent because, again, we're going to get defensive value for him at third. It's just going to be, I just don't know what we're going to get from him anymore. We'll have to kind of play it by ear. Second base has been a bit of a move and a shaker, and players kind of all over the place there. I got Monasterio in there now. He hasn't been our everyday third baseman, as you can see. Same situation. I mean, just played out of his shoes for us last year. We did offer him an arbitration contract in ARB, so he's back. Now, he's 30 years old, so it's not like, hey, this is a 26-year-old guy you build around, but he does have a nice profile with a strong work ethic. I did have Campbell up for a short stint to try to just give us some life in that position. As you can see, he didn't play awesome offensively either for us. He was really doing really nice in AAA. So I was like, hey, I could really use some of this pop in the bat and just the offensive, just kicking the pants for the team. I'm not so much worried about the defense. He does play a decent second base. It's nothing that's going to light the world on fire. But I thought, man, if he can come up and just play above this current focus and get more towards his potential, and again, he's pretty much now, I think, he is in his last option year. So we got to make a decision with this guy very soon. So I just don't know what we're going to do with him. We might just have to bite the bullet as we go into next year, and he will be our everyday second baseman. And we see what we have. Because, again, the contract's not awful, but you're going to want something positive offensively because you're not going to get much defensive value from him, unfortunately. So we had him up for a spell. Didn't really pan out. I made the decision. Let's send him back down. The up and down thing story is going to hurt this guy, but yeah. For right now, we got Monasterio in there. I kind of thought he's a little better defensively anyway, and has a more, I would say, developed bat currently to be of value for us as we try to get back in the division race this year. Connor Wong, I have 4-started him now at catcher. He did, I put him in the development lab. He improved his catcher defense. He's still not nowhere near the catcher defensively that Navarez is, but I really need the bat. Not that he's got a ton of power or anything, but he has a really nice profile, personality profile. And I think he's just kind of, in a sense, earned the spot to play every day. Not that I'm expecting, 25 bombs out of this guy or anything of that sort. We're not going to get it. But at this point, I just really need his bat in the lineup currently, and to see what we can, extract some value out of that. And he's not going to hurt us, horribly with the catcher framing of 55. It's not Navarez. I'm not even sure what Navarez is. He's by at least 60. He's a 60, catcher framing. So it's not like it's a huge difference. But again, the better catcher is now kind of coming off the bench in Navarez. But as you can see, we were getting a positive bat out of him last year, which is a bit shocking that, he's a 126 OPS plus. That I was hoping we would be able to get that again. You're just getting so much value for a guy at that point. But as you can see, it all came crashing kind of back to earth. But even at a 47 WRC plus or OPS plus, he was still getting us positive WAR because of his good defense. But I have to trade a bit of that right now because our offense is so atrocious. And then Franklin Arias, let's talk about him. He was tearing it up in Worcester. Only had 80 at-bats there, 16 games. So we've had him up for most of this year now. I think we brought him up sometime probably in early May to make it in the big leagues. As you can see, the numbers he was throwing up are just out of this world down there. So it's like, well, what's the point of him hitting 342 in AAA? He has, some development yet to do. But again, good defensively, so we're going to get defensive value right off the rip. And we just got to be patient with the bat. And unfortunately, we want to win now, but I still think this guy, high baseball IQ, good player, 21 years old. Let's get him up, see what he can do, and be patient with him. And again, I thought with the lineup that we had with Wilyer, Roman, Casas power, Contreras power, Seager, not that you're going to get a lot of power out of this guy. He does have plus power. But even still, 15, 20 home runs, we're going to be in good shape. But let's take a quick look at our team stats. And as you can see from a batting perspective, absolutely just atrocious in most of every category in the American League. Home runs, I think that's dead last, 15th. So we're just being unbelievably unlucky on the base paths. Pitching-wise, we're in the top 5 in most of these categories. Starters ERA, overall ERA, bullpen ERA is decent. Runs allowed, 3rd. Runs scored. Where's runs scored? We're 14th in the AL. So again, we have 205 runs scored. We have 221 runs allowed, so we had a negative differential there. But if we could just be middle of the pack offensively, this team is in a far different spot. And I think this errors, I think that's a good thing. I think this defensive efficiency, zone rating, I think those are all good things. I think you want to be low in the errors. I think that stat just looks a little different. Pitching-wise, Crochet's been good. Suarez was hurt for a little bit to start the year. He got nicked in spring training. He's come back and been decent. Connolly early has been pitching out of his mind. Cole had kind of been back and forth in the bullpen as well as in the rotation. He's now there in a number 4 spot, and then Grayson's been excellent. Bullpen-wise, we got Whitlock as the closer. He's been pitching really well. And then we traded for, I do believe it was a trade. Let me take a quick look at the history of Ryan Helsley. Yep. So we traded John Holubetz, Carlos something or other, and Santiago Ramirez to get Ryan Helsley. Now, what I will say is the tooling did not love this deal. Kind of you know, the pitcher is what the pitcher is at this point. He's 32. He's not going to improve. It's 14 million. It's kind of high money. And again, as you can see, it's kind of probably a bit proved true. We're getting negative WAR value out of Helsley, so I don't know if it's a player we can get kind of off of the team as we get closer to the trade deadline. At this point, I want to think that we're going to be buyers at the deadline. It's not that we're that far out of things. We can look at the standings, as you can see in the wild card. We are 4 back, so we got some wood to chop. But the teams in front of us are close. And, outside of the Rays, no other team really in the division is playing, crazy ball. We just got to start hitting. But I don't know where a ton of that's going to come from. Let's take a look at, is it the front office? Yeah, so you can see the budget is there up at 320. So it's now a top 6, where I think last year we were like a top 12, 13 budget. We're now in more realistic territory for what you would think the Red Sox would be. Our payroll is 7th, so we got a pretty high payroll. And we don't have a ton of money available right now, though. So we can't, it's not like we can go out and get a huge contract or acquire a huge contract for a bat this year. The team is, in a sense, a bit of what the team is. Let's take a look at salaries just so you can have a sense of what that looks like. The pitching at the top, obviously you can see Seager there at 26, and that's really what we're paying. So we're paying both Seager and Cole. So we did, almost in a sense, like if you think of those as like kind of like free agent acquisitions, we got to extract some value out of that. What's nice with Story is that this is a team option for 28. Story will be done. Obviously, so will Yoshida. So we're going to have $43 million coming off the books. We'll have a team option on Contreras. We'll have to make a decision about that at that point. He could be a DH next year for $20 million. Maybe not. End of the world. Helsley's contract will come off. Brian Bayo, TBD as to what we get out of him. And then the rest, are all that, significant financial outlays. But at this point, it's been a frustrating start to the season. Let me take also a look at just the records we had. We started off relatively decent in April. I think we might have been 4-1, 4-2, and then just the rest of April went pretty bad. We did spin it around in May to be at least playing 500 ball. So I am still optimistic that the team has a little bit of spark in them yet and some life. But time will tell. Time will tell. It's just unfortunate because, in the sense, from the bench perspective, we have Yoshida up there now. We have Story platooning. In a sense, it kind of has to, because we're not going to play Casas probably against lefties. So it'll be interesting. I'm kind of where I'm leaning now is if we have some sort of package at the deadline or sometime in late June or early July that we do make a move to try to get some sort of bat, and we trade some prospect depth. I don't know if it's Kyson Witherspoon or Campbell or Justin Gonzalez, and maybe we package in Casas, but we got to get some bat that would have some immediate impact for us really soon. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. All right, so I think we're caught up. I wanted to take, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else we'd really want to take a look at. Let's actually jump back to player dev, because we actually had some really good things that happened in the development lab. So let's go from the bottom of these. Roman Anthony, gap power, outstanding. His gap power did go up, even in his scouting report. Connor Early, increasing pitch movement, that was also successful. Christian Campbell, quality of contact was successful. Trey Morgan did not improve, like no noticeable improvement. Franklin Arias, plant discipline was up. Yoelan Cespedes was also successful in his two-strike approach. Marcus Phillips improved. Zach K, that was like a draft pick, didn't improve, and then Trevor Condon also improved his quality of contact. And again, this guy we got to keep a bit of a close eye on because I mean he's super young, but this is, I would assume, a future center fielder. Now we also have a center fielder in New York today, but again, like this is a leadoff hitter, relatively. I mean, he's got contact. You know, you'd love maybe a little bit of a better eye at the top of the lineup, but you get this guy on base. He's taken second, and again, center field 60-65. All of that's really positive for us. So, I mean, this is just a prospect we got to really keep an eye on. Let me see who else. Obviously, Campbell, we've seen his profile. Zach K, this was a draft pick, I do believe, for us yet the 2026 draft. Again, has potential. We just need him to develop, continue on the right path. He's in rookie ball now. I don't know if that's really where I should have him. Could he play like high A? Yeah, he definitely could. He's 22 years old. He probably should almost even be in Double A. I'm gonna move this guy up. And that's the thing, like in some of these, I'm gonna go high A Greenville right now. I mean, some of these I gotta spend a little more time, and that's what I'm hoping we can do. The kind of the rest of this season now is slow down a bit. Not that you're gonna look, oh, let's see if we can get some extraction of talent out of 22-year-old guys in Double A or in high A ball to help this organization this year, because we, again, the idea of the series was within 2 years, 26 or 27, get ourselves a World Series ring. 26, maybe I should have been a little more aggressive at the deadline with the way the team momentum was to get us there. But we just kind of, we ran into the juggernaut of the Yankees and got beat up by them. But had we maybe been a little more aggressive at the deadline to get one more middle of the order bat, maybe we would have had a shot to knock them off. But hindsight's 2020. I just kind of thought with some of the moves we made in the offseason, we would have had ourselves in a pretty decent spot. We obviously now have the Rays playing out of their minds. The Yankees are still the Yankees. I just want to take a look at their pitching. Yeah, their back end of their pen is pretty solid. They got Chapman, they got Williams there yet. They must have let Bednar go. Not that Williams has been anything fantastic, but their pitching staff is still pretty solid with Fried, Schlittler's great, Rodon. I'm sure he could start to fade off a bit. Weathers, Will Warren. That's a team, too, that's just not going to be afraid of trading players. I'm just curious as to Judge. They're hitting home runs. As you can see, that team's just built to smack the ball out of the ballpark. And I was kind of hoping that's how our team would be a little bit more of this year, and we've only regressed in being able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. All right, so here we are in June. Again, things are not going well, hitting-wise. I still have faith in the lineup, but I don't know exactly where to make drastic improvements to the team. I don't know. I'm just trying to think if Sogard could come up and play second base. He's hitting the ball like crazy down in AAA, but he hasn't been up at all this year. No power really, but has at least good contact profile, right? I'm just afraid they would almost play him at shortstop. Mikey Romero, Bayo. What's Bayo doing down there? AAA. Yeah, hasn't been very good at all. And that I just don't know. I mean, this contract, I feel like we're just gonna have to dump and eat at some point. It'd be nice to be able to package him in some sort of deal, but I don't know if it's going to work out for us. Romy Gonzalez, how's he been doing down in AAA? Positive. Maybe it's Romy. I don't know. Would he be a shot in the arm for us? He does expect to play in the majors. He's not torn up about it, but maybe I would just have a little more flexibility with him versus Yoshida. Has Yoshida done anything? Not really. He's just such a defensive liability. Why even bother at this point, right? So let's do that. Let's bring up Romy. I don't think it's going to change anything in the day-to-day. It does actually put Romy at second, which I'm okay with. You know, Monasterio is they're about the same age, and again, we're probably getting a little bit, possibly maybe a better bat in Romy if he plays to this profile with the gap power, right? Really smacks the ball around. And again, with the $5 million in the contract, I mean, we're paying him pretty decent money. So let's give Romy some run. Maybe that'll be a shot in the arm for us. I think it helps us defensively. Romy, Arias, Seager, Contreras, Connor Wong. I mean, the other thing, you could maybe put Connor Wong at second base as well. He wouldn't be horrible there. And then you could still play Navarez. We'd have to bring up somebody else to be a bat or a backup catcher for us, most likely. Pitching wise, I don't think there's really a lot we need to think about or do. I mean, we got Crawford kind of at the very back end. That's fine. Oviedo, Weiser, Bennett Sousa hasn't really pitched well for us. I mean, I think this guy we can move him down. If he doesn't want to go down to AAA, we just release him. So is there a lefty in the bullpen somewhere down here? He's a righty. Eduardo Rivera is a lefty, so we could potentially think about Eduardo Rivera. He's been pitching well. I think the one we might want to keep an eye on is this guy. I think he throws right, though. You have Angel Bastardo, but I think he does have to be on our team. So I think what we'll do, let's do two things. Let's actually have Sousa go down to AAA now. I'm curious as to what his mood will be. He didn't care. He has options, so we told him he's got to go, he's going to go. And then let's bring up Rivera. And we'll just throw him in middle of relief. He can be more of a specialist. Because I'm sure his ratings are a bit better. Not horribly so much. I mean, there's really the BABIP. And his stuff is better. Again, it makes sense against lefties. A little bit of a split. But a nice guy. Like, a nice, really nice profile. It's just the relief risk that you have with a low control player like that. But I don't mind giving him some run. Because I think once this guy comes off of this guy I'm talking about, Bastardo, I think he has to be on our roster. yeah, he's protected on the secondary roster. So he's either with us, like either we have him on the major league roster all the whole year, or if we let him go, he goes to like his former team or something. I guess. Yeah, it looks like we picked him up. He was acquired in a Rule 5 draft way back in 2024. So because of that, he's protected. I guess he has to be in the 40 man. That's probably what it really means. He has options, I guess. Yeah, be interesting. I mean, I think I would probably maybe at least see kind of how he does in AAA. I mean, interesting profile. You know, he's got stuff. Um, if anything, he kind of needs to develop. But he'll soon come off the IL, and then we can put him on a rehab stint in AAA. Biggest thing right now with this team, again, we're not fully out of it. It's been a bit disappointing. I'm sure we're going to get kind of a nasty gram from the owner, because again, if I could find where it was his owner goals, I saw it here somewhere initially. But I don't remember where that page was. Oh, here is the goals, yeah. Team record, reached the playoffs. We're struggling with that. He had to extend the player of Chapman. Now, when he took the qualifying offer, we met that goal immediately, but then we traded him. Acquire a power hitter. Our closest match so far is Royce Lewis. So that's a fail. So I would say almost we're at like 3 of 3 failures. Increased attendance to 31,000. We're above that right now. Built the farm. We're currently 18th. We were 19th, but he wants top 6. But again, these target years are a little ways away. And even this one with the power hitter is 2029 goals. So only for a few this year. As long as we can make the playoffs, we're going to be in decent shape. And then it's really not, reach the World Series 2032, but I'm trying to do that quicker than that, obviously. Tolley, let's talk about Tolley for just a minute. I want to scout this guy. I don't know why we're only average on him. There should be some notes in here, though. Yep, so he was injured, was going to miss 4 months. He suffered a setback, obviously, as we're getting to the end of the season. Another 4 months. He received a contract, like just the automatic, because he hadn't yet reached arbitration. But then in early January, he suffered another setback, required surgery, missed another 12 months. So he's not back until, what is that? Like, hopefully he's ready for spring training of 2028. Now, again, his profile is still solid. 4+ pitches, good stuff, good BABIP, good control. We should still be okay. You know what I mean? Like, this guy should still pan out for us. Let's hope. You know what I mean? I just like the guy, He looks like a Red Sox. So we're still very optimistic on him, as well as early. And honestly, I mean, Crochet, Suarez early, Rodriguez, Tolley. It's a rotation and a half that we have. We just need the bats. All right, so let's maybe play a couple series here. Let's see if we can get ourselves maybe through this Yankee series, get close to mid-June, figure out exactly what we got going on with this team. Tampa Bay is going to be an interesting series. They're at like the top of our division, and as you can see, we played them at the tail end of May, and we lost that series. We lost game 1, we won game 2, and then lost game 3, so they took 2 out of 3 against us. And again, a 5-2 game. I mean, they scored 3. It was a tie game, and then in the top of the ninth, they scored or hit a 3-run bomb. A decent start out of Cole. Unfortunately, Trinosco got roughed up. Boysert's probably actually the guy that gave up the home run. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. But again, the bats didn't get us in a spot to win that game.
So he's ready. Let's put him on a rehab assignment. Easy enough. And then we lost this game 4-8, 8-4. A rough 5th inning for us. Or what inning was that? 7th inning, sorry. A rough 7th inning by giving up 5 runs. Dylan Cease crushed us. So far, not an excellent start to our June. We really need June to be really positive. Otherwise, we could be potential sellers, or not. Yeah, that's maybe in the cellar of the American League East, forcing us to be sellers of talent. A nice 6-1 win. Connor Wong. Romies. Seems like he's doing something. We had Monasterio in left for this game. Interesting. Gurley pitched nice. So this is a 4-game set. Let's take 3 out of 4. How about that? Or let's just split. Please, a split. We need a split. Nice. So 2-2. I mean, you'd want to be able to do more. I mean, us and the Blue Jays are fighting for dead last here in the American League East. A nice complete game shutout out of Ranger Suarez. So he seems like he's really starting to round into shape. We scored 3 runs in the first, and that was it. Royce Lewis drew a walk, driving in a run. The bases loaded walk. But, I mean, as you can see, I mean, look at these home run totals for this lineup. I mean, there's just no power there. It is wild. I mean, it looks like it's April. No, this is June. The lineup that we just put out there, the guy with the highest number of home runs had 4. Got the draft coming up here in a month or so, probably. Just want to see if there's dates on that. Yeah, first year player draft is July 11th. Deadline. Oh, I think I need to filter on all messages. Yeah. All right, we got ourselves a 3-game set against the Yankees. Now we're on the road here, at New York, at Toronto. These 6 games may well begin to set a tone for what we begin to think about the rest of this year. A 9-3 win. That's really nice, actually. Connor Wong, his first home run. I guess not his. It is his first home run. Yep. I was thinking that it was like just one on the day. Nope, it's first of the year. William Abreu hits his 6th. Contreras hits his 4th. See, if we just had our team hit in Yankee Stadium all the time, we could hit home runs. Cole pitched against his former team, 5 innings, pitched decent. Slayton pitched well, as did Ryan Helsley. 2 innings, 1 run, must have been an error. And we had 3 errors in that game. Wow. You're not going to win most of those times. Like, you do that, typically you're not going to get that lucky. Game 2. Is that an 8-1 loss? Yikes. Is this Grayson throwing? Yeah, Grayson got roughed up, as did Weiser. That's not ideal. Will Warren shut us down? 10 Ks in 7 innings. Oof. All right, boys. Really need to take 2 out of 3, and we don't. 10-5. Grisham roughed us up big time. I'm surprised they still have this guy. Did they recently? Wow. I mean, it's not a. I mean, that's a pretty lofty contract. But again, with the defensive value you get out of this guy, and he's putting up really nice offensive numbers this year. In 58 games, he's got just as many home runs. So he's been really good for them this year. Judge with 19 home runs, which is a good total. But to get 16 and 43 ribbies out of Grisham, he's probably been, in all honesty, just about probably your best offensive player. A nice game out of Franklin Arias. Again, it's really just we just have no power in this lineup. And again, if we get off to a rough start like we did in this one with them throwing up 5 runs in the 4th, we're just not going to really be able to come back. You really need to get a couple guys on base and hit a 3-run bomb at times to get yourselves back in a game like that. A 4-3 loss in 10 against Toronto. Yikes. A 5-1 win. So again, we got to take 2 out of 3 against these guys. Like, really need to start sweeping some teams. Suarez back-to-back really nice starts. Had a complete game in one of them, and now he comes back and throws 8. To lose 2 out of 3. So that's 2 and 4 in those 6 games. It is not going well. We're playing the Angels, who are at the top of the division in the West. They're tied for top. So we are now 5.5 games out of the wild card. So we've only made it harder for us to get to that point. Whew. Roman still hitting well. Wilyer Abreu. But that's it. For guys that are a positive OPS plus, we have 2. Everybody else, Contreras is close enough. You'd want more out of that from first base. But no one else in the lineup is even remotely close to being a positive offensive player. I'm not 100% sure where to turn. Staff cohesion is content. I mean, do you make a move at some level here? I mean, we just brought this guy in the offseason. I mean, there's not a lot different, somebody would do with the current team differently. It's just not panning out.
and I just don't. I don't know if we have a lot of moves available to us. I mean, let's look at war. And Seeger were just in negatives. Man, it's just not good at all. I'm not for starting him anymore at third. I mean, I have his position set to be our third baseman, but at this point, I think I'm going to let the coach make that decision. Bench the guy if you want to, which is just insane to think about. He's not pitching excellent. How is the other guy doing that we brought up? Rivera. No, he's been pitching fine. I mean, he hasn't thrown much, but he's been doing a-okay. Just a specialist against lefties, it looks like. The pitching staff, I mean, the ERAs are getting a little bit bloated now. It's still not bad. I'm sure if we take a look at team stats, yeah, the pitching is still really not the problem here. It's the bats. It really is. And I just don't know. There's not a lot of places for us to turn. It'd be nice if Christian Campbell could come up and hit like that. You know, if he could put up a 140, 135 OPS plus or WRC plus, I would take it every day, but he comes up and he stinks. How's Eric Getty doing down in AAA? Pitching pretty well. I mean, war-wise anyway. His BABIP is crazy high for AAA lineups. I am unsure of what to do, but now that I've done that move at least, let's do. I'm just gonna set Monasterio. Did I set his position to third? There we go. Yeah, at this point, Seager's going to get hit against lefties, which just seems odd. I mean, yeah, he's a way better hitter against righties. But you're going to bat him against lefties? Okay. I think we got to do something with him. I just never would have thought in a million years he would struggle this much. They're going to put Royce at third. Again, defensively, that probably will work out fine for us. I have a feeling you trade away Casas, who has power. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. He had so much power for us last year, and it's completely evaporated. So I'm not a fan of trading him away. I think what we have to do is look to trade a guy like this, Kyson Witherspoon. Now, what I want to see, is there a place where I can see is it player development?
Tyson looks like he's 193rd. That must be in like all of baseball, a top 200 prospect. See, this guy's in rookie ball. I don't think necessarily he should be playing rookie ball. I mean, he's 19 years old, but and I think he could be such a good player down the road. I would just hate to trade Trevor Condon on a wasted season. Is it a wasted season? This guy's got power. He's in our international complex. Can I put him in rookie ball? Gerardo Rodriguez. What a weird profile for a first baseman, right? $21. I mean, I don't think we're going to get much for this guy. If I shop him around. Why would I have this guy? I mean, I get he has really good contact, but I feel like you want. I mean, almost you're better off making this guy a catcher, I feel like. His first base defense isn't anything spectacular. He doesn't have really a fantastic arm, so they'd probably run on him all the time. But why not have this guy learn to play catcher? Let's set him to catcher. Yeah, I kind of like that. Now, the other thing is, can I shop him around? I need regulars or veterans. Now we're looking for bats, so don't even worry about the pitchers that we're seeing here. Ryan Noda, power and a good eye, 31 years of age. Hasn't really been in the big leagues for a spell. A little bit of pop in the bat, but really no contact profile. And lefty. I really kind of need power from the right-hand side of the dish, I think, because of the ballpark. Reed Trimble does have some pop. 27, left fielder, switch hitter, good defensively. Okay. Hasn't really proven himself as a big leaguer, and is not this year, I should say, throwing up really awesome numbers in AAA. So again, nothing that really excites me there a lot. Lamont Wade Jr. Okay. Yeah, lefty again doesn't really excite me a lot. This guy bats right. It's kind of a similar profile. A little more power in this guy, but it's not proven at all in the big leagues. He makes good contact, could play a decent first base. Nothing too exciting there, though. Brian Hayes is more of a defensive player. Really good defensively, but I don't really necessarily need that. Connor Norby, currently nicked up a little bit.
is a plus bat right off the rip. 27 years of age. Esteury Ruiz. Speed, like all day long speed. Really no power. So that's that LX80. Yeah, so far I'm not seeing a lot from this guy, but again, it's not probably a really a top contract. Trevor Larnach, lefty bat. I would much prefer a non-lefty bat. What about Cody Clemens? Is he bat from the right? No, he's lefty bat too. Got a little pop in his bat though. 7 home runs this year. Yankees are offering really nothing of value. Yeah. Really not a lot for him, which I don't necessarily disagree with, I guess. Although it's interesting that he's like a 50, like he's a top 50 prospect, I guess. Top 60? Yeah, I guess that sounds right. Yeah, I'm just unsure. Unsure in so many aspects of where to turn. He doesn't have a lot of power. Edward Cabrera, Jose Siri, Bobby Milner. Like I need a bat, like a really good bat. Chad Stevens is nicked. And guys in Colorado, it's like, is the power inflated because of the ballpark? Tyler Black bats left though. And his power, I mean, wow, what a speedy guy. Holy. 9 home runs this year. It's pretty interesting. Doesn't strike out a ton. Good eye, avoids Ks. And the speed is interesting. Wow. I just wish he was a righty bat. I would kind of be interested in that player. This guy's got some pop too. 269 home runs. But I just really want it from the other side of the plate. But those were relatively decent kind of players to be offered up. Vaughn Grissom does bat right. He's 26. Really not a lot of power. I like his defense at second.
Good contact. BABIP is decent. Gap power. 6'2". Bats right. Andujar's a righty bat too. He's 32 at this point. What's his contract? So he's around for a few years. They just have him playing first base. And he's more of a slappy hitter, which he's always kind of been. A little pop in spurts. I'm not fully sold on it. I really want the righty bat. I really would want to lean towards the green. The Giants are offering Casey, who's this guy? A righty bat. Not a good eye. So he's not going to walk much, but he does avoid the K, but still strikes out 23% of the time. Last year he hit 28 home runs for them. This year he's got 7. Defensively, strong at third, really strong at first too. His contract is really nothing to be of concern about. He's signed for a few years. I mean, you know who's a better player than that? Corey Seager. But what's the problem with Corey Seager? I mean, this profile is way better. I mean, I get, like, the contact is probably not as strong. His BABIP is horrible, like, below average now. Just, I don't. It's just so unfortunate. All right, let's play one more week here. We'll look to wrap this up. Then again, I'm sure this episode is really stretching, almost an hour and a half. So let's get through the 20th of June. That's going to have to be a date at which we really begin to make some decisions. And even for a guy like Seager, I think, I don't know if there's anybody out there that's going to want to trade with us, but we're almost going to just have to be like, well, that was a failed experiment. We're going to just cut and run. All right, the team has responded to my just despondency at this point. Seager played DH and went 1 for 4 with a ribby. Arias went yard. Abreu went yard. Rodriguez pitched well. Would have been a little nicer to have a game score above 60, but that's good. We scored some runs at home. Excellent. 13-2 loss. Oof. Early got roughed up. Cutter Crawford, Oviedo, and Slayton. No one pitched well. Now this team again, this is a 4-game set. Like, to take 3 out of 4 would be excellent. And to lose in extra innings. Good grief, team. 4-3. Split them. Gotta split. We don't. 8 games under. And now we're playing the Padres, who I want to
just check. They're 33 and 34. They're second place in the West. It must be nice to be second place in the West with a team that is that bad. Now, the only thing I'm thinking of doing as well. Okay, Seager's playing DH against righties. I think that does make a lot of sense. He's really playing DH now against both. That's kind of what I was thinking of doing. Casas is struggling so much. Why not even just have Casas not be an everyday player? And I think what we might need to do with Tristan at this point, with just the struggles he's had this year. But again, the power, like you would think the power would be so of so much value. But it's just not. And at this point, he's not playing well enough for me to want to keep him around next year. So can I just get a trade piece for him? But I like the idea, I think, of Seager playing DH. I probably should actually put him at first base. Thank you, Garrett Cole. We need to sweep this series. Like, it's kind of at this point, like, nice. So a win in 14, that's a long day. And we do sweep. All right, so that was what, 4 and 3 on the week? We're still 5 games under 500. I'm still just not sure what exactly to do with this team. Does Trout, I mean, he says he'd be willing to get traded. This is a guy I would love to come in and, I don't know, it's just, I mean, it's a risk with that profile. The contact is so low. He does strike out a lot, but he does have a decent BABIP, and his eye is really good, so he's going to walk. He's walking 10% of the time. He hit 42 home runs last year in 135 games at a 6.4. But I bet if we, I mean, why would he come to us right now, right? If I go to trade for player, he's not blocking it. I have no one, like, they wouldn't even take anybody on our team, which is interesting. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Like, I don't even know at this point, like, where would we put this guy? I don't think I'd have him play outfield. I think I'd have him be our DH because he's so fragile. But I totally kind of, I guess, agree with them at this point. But for them not even to want Roman Anthony. But yeah, so here we are on June 21st, 2027. We're in a tough spot, very tough spot. We got the Yankees and the Rays at 15 games above 500. Everybody else within the division is within reach. We just got to get to 500 ball. We're 4.5 games back in the wild card, so that's not out of question. We soon gotta get closer, though, within the next month. From a hitting standpoint, I still think we stink so bad. We're 8 and 10 in June so far, so we're under 500 for the month. The offense is really not turning itself around in any way, shape, or form. The pitching is holding itself up. I mean, we would be one of the worst teams in the league if we didn't have this pitching staff. That, again, is holding serve for us. There's not much on the pitching side that I would change at this point. I might look to bring up Bayo. Cutter Crawford might just have him kick rocks. So there's maybe a few small changes that we can make there. I think I am going to we're going to look to make one move here before we end this episode, and that is we're going to see if we can find a home for Tristan Casas. We're going to shop this guy around. I think I'll do like a multiplayer package and just see what comes up. So Boston would receive a shortstop who's 38 years old and Miguel Rojas. This is from the Braves. We get Raylo, a bullpenner who's really struggling. So it's like bad for bad. The Miami Marlins offer us Braley Falter and Ryan Gusto. So two pitchers of really no interest to me, I don't think. Ronel Blanco, Jake Myers. I don't really want to take money on, so no thanks. And then Dustin May, Hunter Patterson. No thanks. Like none of these deals even at all excite me. Aaron Ashby, under contract for a number of years. Like mildly interested in this profile, but not really. So that's also a no. So that's not going to work. So let's go prospect package. Again, that's not going to be of any value to us this year. Let's see. Pierce Coppola from the Cubs, a lefty thrower who's okay. Andrew Sears, a 24-year-old. They want Slayton as well. Interesting. Andrew Sears. Run-of-the-mill arm, I'd say. And the Twins, Emmanuel Rodriguez, a batter, center field left. Probably not. So again, none of those deals excite me. So what I think I'm going to do, we're not able to deal him, which I understand. Like everybody thinks this guy's not panning out. He's struggling so much for you this year. We're just going to have to... We're just going to see if a move down to AAA will help this guy out. If he's down there for a couple of weeks, hey, can something get figured out with this guy? And we get him on the right track. What I'm going to do... I believe... I just think we have to. I think it's Campbell again. Like, and what I think I want to do as well is for Seegers. Again, he could be a really good third baseman. So they're playing Royce at third, which I don't disagree with. He's a good third baseman defensively. Batting stats, splits. Is it splits I want? Yeah. June. Okay, so he is starting to hit the ball in June. He's hitting 387 for the month. Alright, it's not a huge sample size, but you're smacking the ball. So it's probably kind of silly. Yeah, I think I'm better off actually at doing this. Corey Seager. He's 6'4". That's a huge target to throw at over there. I'm going to set him to first. I'm going to set WC40. Because it might even help this guy. I'm going to set him as our DH.
Now, what I was hoping I would do I'm just going to have to force the action, I think. Set your position to DH. In strategy, force at DH. Alright, let's go back. I think I just want to see what Connor Wong's been doing too. He's not really hitting. I'm going to move the 4-start off of him. If they platoon or something, it's fine. I mean, I don't really as much care about the offense out of the catching position. I would love some pop, but they're going to put Navarez back in. I'm okay with that. He's such a good battery mate, and we can figure things out down the road. Yeah, let's see. What's Romy doing? -4. It just stinks. It's like anybody that we're plugging in. It seemed like last year we got lucky. Monasterio chipped in. It's just having a really unlucky year. Guys are just not performing. I mean, Royce, Monasterio. I mean, just players not. And what I got to do as well, I think, for Seager is I have to set his position at first, and we've got to force it. I mean, it's what I want to have happen. I think, again, that's where he'll probably finish out his career, is either at first or third. All right, Wilyer Abreu in right, Roman, Wilson Contreras, Seager, Sedan, Romy Gonzalez, Royce Lewis at third, Franklin Arias, and Navarez. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, to me, on paper, that seems like such a good team. I mean, I get that it's not like Roman Anthony hits 35 home runs, but he has such a nice batting profile. All right, I'm curious now, at least to see how this team will play for a few days. So let's at least get through a series or two, or maybe even to the end of the month. A 2-1 loss, so far the offense hasn't really. I mean, to waste a start like that out of Crochet is so disappointing. 7-2 loss. He's out a week. What do you do with a guy like that? What's the, is it 10-day? Yeah, might as well just put him on the 10-day IL. Dead arm for a week. I don't necessarily think we'd have to really make a move, but I'm just gonna bring up, is Nick Sogard in here? I feel like he should be. Maybe not. Yeah, there he is. How's he doing? He's been fantastic down there. So who knows? Maybe Nick Sogard is our answer. Because I'm assuming
either he or Story would get the start. They're going to give it to Sogard. Okay. Again, I'm not torn up about that. Sogard will be a fine shortstop for a few days. But we got swept by the Angels at LA. And 28-year-old for... It's really not anything I'm all that interested in. Jorge Chico. I'll let that player go. Yeah, I mean, all signs are now pointing to just selling. Like, we're going to sell. I just don't know. I mean, none of the moves we're making are working out this year. I think we'd probably try to trade Contreras. We'd probably try to trade Seager. We could bring up Trey Morgan to play first base. I think we should, probably in our next episode, if things don't turn around. And again, where are we in the wild card? We're now 6.5. I think we're just going to have to bite the bullet at this point. Again, if this series against the Angels, or not the Angels, the Diamondbacks, I mean, Halsey's upset. He wants to get moved, is basically what he's telling me. So sure, like, I'll even begin that move now if you are interested in that. Like, I'll shop you around for a prospect, see if I get anything in return. I don't even care what I get back so much in this scenario. Like, I really don't. It can be a middling player in my eyes. The Kansas City Royals, I'm not exactly sure where they are in a sense in the hunt, but I think I'll probably take somebody from the Angels. Like, this guy has got a little pop in his bat. Not a lot of contact profile. I mean, it's kind of the 3 true outcome type of scenario. Relatively decent. He's a righty bat. They're all like 40, 45. Denzer Guzman. A decent little defender. Not a ton of bat there for him. Kind of a utility type of player, I guess you'd call him. What about this catcher? Good catcher, but not much of a bat. It'd be tough to play him every day. More of a backup catcher. But again, you're not going to get much in this kind of scenario. Like, you're dealing a guy on an expiring contract. He's 30-some years old. What's Halsey done for us? He's 0.2 WAR. Again, yeah, at this point, I'm more than willing to get that salary off of our team to even give us some flexibility. Trey Snyder, second base. That's right. Good defensively. Good base runner. There's just not a lot there on the offensive side. This guy is just so far away, you don't know what you're going to get. He could potentially be maybe the better of the bunch in this scenario. Good defender, kind of can play all over the place. But he's got to develop. That's a project at this point, a player like that. I don't really need center field, so I'm going to ignore those for now.
I think the one that excites me the most is really this guy, just because of the power profile that could develop. A ready bat, big, tall. I mean, if they're going to take all of the money, our money is going to improve by quite a bit. And they get a player that can maybe help them this year. I probably should have ran that through the front office tooling, but at this point, I'm not too torn up with losing him anyway. I think there's like one guy that was on the rehab assignment. I think we just got to bring this guy up. I think he's got to be on the roster anyway. So let's go to Boston, bring him in, and then let's go pitching staff, and yeah, let's just have the manager do it. Whitlock, Slayton, Cutter Crawford. Yeah, he's in kind of a long relief role. That's totally fine. And I think probably what we'll look to do, I mean, Whitlock, I think I'd probably try to keep around just because he can be our closer of the future. But if there's a fair amount of value we could get back for him in a trade, you might almost just need to. Because it's not like he's throwing up, unbelievable numbers for us. He's under contract he's got an option for next year. I'd probably like to keep him around under that scenario because I don't really have a closer right on the cusp. So, if anything, that deal just gets us some money freed up. I don't mind getting out of Halsey's contract at this point in late June. Somebody was interested in him. He was mad, didn't like his role, and we're on a big losing streak right now. And we continue. Lost every game that week, 6 in a row. It's just unfortunate. It's just not good. I guess we can just keep this guy in the international fine short list. I don't know if anything will really pan out with him, but yeah, I think now at this point, what we're going to try to do, I think from a player with some value, it's going to be WC-40. He's got a team option for next year. He's 35 years old. I think he can be of value to somebody out there in the org or out there in the ether. So let's initially shop him around. I guess we could do like a multiplayer package and just see what happens. So, interesting deal right off the rip. Boston would get Willy Adames and Devers. Devers comes back to Boston. What that is right there for the Giants is that salary dumping. They're just looking to get rid of those two players. Now, Devers for us could be probably our everyday first baseman or our DH. Willy Adames could be our shortstop, would play it fine defensively, and is having a pretty solid year. But what do we do with Franklin Arias at that point? You could put Adames at third. You could put Adames at second base. You could put Arias probably at second base too. So it's just the money. Like, that's a lot of money to take on. We do get some cash. I would probably ask them to eat some of that money of those contracts, which at that point they may not do. The Dodgers would give us Edwin Diaz, bullpen arm. I mean, contract-wise, it's not horrible. It's just not enough cash. I mean, they got to eat, and I don't even think it helps us long term. Like, we get more middling players in their low 30s. Let's just do it for a single player. Wilson Contreras. See what comes back. Framber Valdez, Porter Hodge. Now, I could see it being a guy like that. I mean, he's going to have arbitration years, but why not get an arm like that in your bullpen? And that, to me, that seems like a relatively simple trade to make right off the rip. We're still shedding salary this year, and we're getting an arm in the bullpen that's somewhat controllable for a few years because of our arbitration. So it seems to make a lot of sense to me. Edwin Diaz again comes up, but that's a lot of money to pay. Anthony Volpe's available. No thanks, probably. Would he play second base for us? Michael King, Tyler McGill, Christian Scott. The Mets offer a few players. The Padres have a few players that they would be interested in giving us as well. Adames is available. Dylan Cease is available. Like, it's some bad contracts. Christian Walker in a walk year. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to plug, just because I want to show you guys this tooling as well, is I want to plug in Wilson Contreras for Porter Hodge in this little tooling, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Trade Center, we're going to send Wilson Contreras. Why isn't he coming up? There he is. Wilson Contreras for Porter Hodge. Now, again, this tooling looks to pull at some recent stats, so it's not getting the what I would say the most recent stats of these players to showcase what it's doing, or like the analysis of the player. But if you can see here, it does reject the deal. It's telling me to reject it because it needs a sweetener on the deal, is what it's asking. Ask Chicago to add a top 10 organizational prospect, ideally a near MLB starting pitcher or a bat with 75 plus talent projection, or swap Hodge for a controllable arm with 3 years remaining. Absent that, hold Contreras and revisit at the deadline. Now, again, this is looking back at almost like a June date, like June 1st date from our stats. So that's what it's kind of telling initially. Yeah.
Contreras still 91st percentile bat with essentially no decline in scouted talent. 17 million for this year. For one more year, he's fairly priced for that production. Middle of the order piece, not a salary dump. Hodges' useful, cheap bullpen arm at 26. Relievers that grade are the most replaceable quantity in the sport, and his deal expires. Yeah, this is where it is. Like, it even kind of talks to this. The 300-point value gap, 230-point talent gap are far too wide to be covered by 16 million in savings unless Boston is in a full teardown. Needs the payroll room immediately. Even in a sell-off, Contreras' age 35 profile, you should be cashing him in now for real upside, not a middle innings arm. So that's a fair thought. Now, let's get Porter Hodge out of there. Let's do Willy Adames. And now I'm going to update the, it was Adames plus Devers, right? Now it doesn't have the prospects in there that they were asking from our group, but this will probably say, sure, if you're willing to take all the money, why not, right? You're getting, potential, like a really positive glove and Adames with some potential pop in the bat. And Devers is Devers. Yeah. It does ask for Saturday relief. Devers is the prize. He's got a 92 ceiling. He's controllable. It's a market rate deal for a middle of the order bat. Replaces Contreras at first base immediately and for half a decade. Adames is tax on the deal. He's showing decline already. And yeah, he's not showing it's the payroll. The real cost is payroll. Taking on a ton of money. Ownership accepts the jump. It's money. Would they take some money or give us another prospect in the deal? So that's kind of the scenario. And it's do you want Rafael Devers back in that scenario too, for long term lefty bat. I mean, he hits to all fields, so it's not the end of the world. But I just wonder, even if in free agency, could I find a DH first baseman type for just cash? So we're coming up though on about 2 hours. I think we'll stop there. As you can see, things are not going well in Boston this year. We're 11 games under 500. We're far back in the division. We're far back in the wild card. We're probably in a position where we're going to have to sell and sell hard at the deadline, find some flexibility in the offseason, and go make some runs at various things. And yeah, it's the game of baseball. For as good as things went last year for us to really spin things around, this year it seems that the decisions have all been bad, have not panned out, and that's how it goes sometimes. So appreciate you all tuning in. We'll get back at it in our next episode.